Hello citizens and welcome back. In today's video I want to talk about player and NPC piracy and how these affect the economy, simulation and probability volumes. As always, if you like this video, sacrifice a like and a comment to the YouTube algorithm and subscribe for more. And here's a shout out to our amazing patrons for their support of the channel and the Armory. This video is a part 2 of my series on the dynamic economy of Star Citizen and the quantum system. If you haven't seen the first part, it's linked somewhere on the screen right now. I think a good start is to take a look at the effects of piracy on the economy in real life. To be fair, piracy was more of a major problem during the Age of Sail than it is now, but there are still a few piracy hotspots like the Horn of Africa and South Asia. To an extent, the goal of piracy has changed as well. During the Age of Sail, the pirates would try to capture their prey and either steal the cargo and the crew for profit or hold them for ransom. Today, the goal is usually to either steal the money stored on board or to hold the ships for ransom from the shipping companies. So what is the impact on the global economy? Well, arguably very small. Holding a ship hostage can cause shipping to be delayed, which can incur penalties and fines for the shipping company. Not to mention the insurance payments increasing and damage payments to the crew, as well as covering any damage to the ship and the ransom itself. Most of this will eventually reflect in an increase of the price of shipping. Then we can take a look at other impacts. An increased frequency of pirate attacks may cause shipping companies to hire security for their ships or find routes that go around the most dangerous areas. This also increases the price of shipping, and it may cause delivery delays which have a cascading economic effect. On top of this, there is also an international government response to piracy in the form of naval task forces in the critical areas, the cost of which comes out of taxpayer money. However, the truth is that in real life the impact of piracy is very minimal. According to available statistics, there are between 100 and 200 pirate attacks a year, which, considering the volume of global shipping, is nothing, even if all of these attacks were successful. However, it hasn't been that long since the world has seen a global disruption of shipping and the related impacts on the economy. If you think back to 2020 and 2021, during the onset of the pandemic, many ports were forced to close and ships were quarantined offshore, unable to transfer cargo. This resulted in many shortages of goods across the globe. Even though this was not piracy related, it does show how dependent the world is on maritime transport. And that is where we can extend this to Star Citizen and shipping goods across star systems. First, we will take a look at NPC pirates and Quanta, and then at player pirates, because while these two groups will have similar impacts, the mechanism will be slightly different. So how are NPC pirates created and controlled? Well, it comes down to Quanta and probability volumes. The activities of Quanta and players generate probability volumes. Probability volumes determine the likelihood of certain events or encounters happening in a given area. These encounters can happen physically in the verse, for example NPCs attacking a player, or they can fully play out in the quantum simulation separately from the game servers as encounters between Quanta. It's important to note that the outcome of these encounters will affect probability volumes, but we will circle back to that later. First, let's talk about how these encounters are triggered. Quanta can be roughly split by professions or specializations. This will determine what actions and tasks they will undertake. For example, mining, trading, law enforcement, or piracy. And these actions result in changes to probability volumes. For example, let's say that an explorer Quanta finds a large deposit of minerals to be mined. This information is then sent out to miner Quanta. We will cover the mechanism of data running in a future video. But for now, knowing that there is a deposit of valuable minerals, miner Quanta will start going to that location in greater numbers than anywhere else. This will affect the probability volume of that area and raise the chances of an encounter with a miner NPC. Now, at the same time, Quanta that provide services such as refueling or refining might be looking for increased concentrations of miners and also arrive at that location. And this increased commerce activity will make the area very attractive for pirate Quanta. Once the pirate Quanta start reaching the mining site and engaging the mining and services Quanta, this will increase the danger rating of the area. And some miner Quanta may no longer be willing to mine there. At the same time, this combat activity will attract security and more combat will unfold. This sequence of events could translate into the physical verse where the players are. The discovery of a mining area could cause mining missions to appear. At the area, players would meet miner and service NPCs based on the probability volumes. And they could even be attacked by NPC pirates. Also, there could be combat assistant beacons appearing or bounty missions against NPCs in that area. Now, what is the impact on the economy? Well, this local disruption is unlikely to have a wider impact, but it can cause shortages of raw materials elsewhere in the nearby trading locations, which may lead to increased demand. For example, we can assume that nearby mining outposts depend on quanta delivering raw materials for refinement and sale. If miner quanta are unable to deliver, this will create a high demand for raw materials as well as a low supply of refined materials. The lack of these materials may cause a spike in demand further in the supply chain. This may provoke trader quanta and players to deliver the missing materials from other locations. However, this is not the only impact. Goods seized by pirates don't disappear from circulation. They are merely redirected to other markets. This would end up in growth in areas where such black markets are present. This would likely be the main source of commodities in lawless areas as well. So in short, prosperity attracts crime, crime leads to danger and combat, and danger chases away commerce and industry, which leads to economic recession. Of course, the presence of outlaws will provoke a security response. This creates an opportunity for conflict and player missions. But now let's take a look at player-driven piracy. The flow of player-driven piracy is a bit different. While it is possible for player pirates to encounter NPC traders and miners and other NPCs they could attack generated by probability volumes, I don't think this will be the primary target. However, if they attack players exclusively, the outcomes don't change. They merely become visible to players. Probability volumes will change to reflect the increased danger, and commerce quanta will avoid the area until this danger clears. Security response will also ramp up. However, in this case, the security response might be actively player-driven with rival factions trying to take control of an area. This is one of the ways players can influence probability volumes and by extension quanta and the quantum simulation. For example, let's say that a group of pirates is actively robbing traders and haulers around a certain location. This would result in this location not getting the supplies it needs and also being unable to sell what they make, eventually resulting in recession. Of course, this creates an opportunity for smugglers to try to avoid the blockade and trade with high profits. So when you think about it, crime, piracy, and conflict create a driver for recession and economic downfall, which in turn are necessary to generate opportunities for profit and growth. On top of that, increased danger in one area may prompt players to move their commercial activities elsewhere, which helps with player circulation. And finally, I think it's time to talk about the encounters between quanta and players. Technically, these encounters don't exist in the physical verse. However, the players and quanta generate probability volumes, and based on these, the game can spawn single-use NPCs that the players can encounter. This can be other miners or traders or even outlaws trying to attack you. The last part is already happening in the game, but also the game can create virtual AI. Virtual AIs persist between encounters, so it is possible for you to encounter the same virtual AI more than once. Virtual AI actually tracks its reputation, so it's possible for it to become quite relevant in the verse, at least according to the plan proposed by CIG. Whether this will work as expected remains to be seen. And with that being said, that's all for tonight. What do you think? How should piracy and crime impact the economy? How should the economy work in a lawless system? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, fly safe, and I will see you in the verse.